All right, so I guess it looks like we are live. Awesome. Very good. So I'm sorry to say that I was not able to get this on Facebook Live tonight, which is really frustrating. For some reason, it is not giving me that option, and I am not sure why, but that is just the case. So sorry about that, but hello and welcome to this week's Essential Oil class. As you know, each week we do join together on Sunday evenings at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we present you a class on essential oils. We delve into the therapeutic properties, safety, and lots of recipes to teach you how to use essential oils safely. You can find all previous classes on freeeoclass.com. Now this week our topic is anti-stress essential oils. So we are live on Google Hangouts, YouTube, and we are also live on our Facebook page. No, we're not, because we are not on there. So forget that, scratch that. So we are live on Google Hangouts and YouTube. And if you are on mobile, then you want to stick on YouTube because there's no way to view Google Hangouts. However, if you do want to participate in the Q&A, you will need to move over to the Google Hangouts page. So I suggest you get on a laptop or desktop so that you can use that feature. So now would be a great time for you to share a link to this live class with your friends, no matter which you're using. If you're viewing on YouTube or Google Hangouts, this would be a great time to post maybe to your Facebook wall. And just so you know, we will be getting to the Q&A at the end of our class. I will be doing the presentation first, and then we will be delving into your questions and answering those. And if you are watching the replay before tomorrow, I will also be on Periscope at noon, and I will present this class to you then. You can search for Leah Harris or look for Using EOS Safely. And after the slideshow presentation, we will be answering your questions. So if you are watching this on Google Hangouts, you can click the square grid on the upper right corner of the Google Hangouts screen and then select the Q&A button, and you can submit your questions that way. And if you are on YouTube, you will need to click the text link bringing you to a new screen where you will find the grid, and then you can select Q&A that way. Please note again that we will not be answering questions until after the presentation. This is going to be recorded. It will be available on YouTube at the link where you're at if you are on YouTube right now watching. It's also going to be embedded on usingeossafely.com/anti-stress-EOS. And speaking of classes, we will not be having a class next week. I will be using this coming week to focus on creating and making available the safe EO labels. So if you aren't sure what I'm referring to, you can check out our Facebook page, our Facebook group, using eossafely.com/FB, or I can elaborate at the end of the class. So let's get started. I'm Leah Harris, Certified Clinical Aromatherapist, Essential Oil Safety Consultant, Blend Formulator, author of The Truth About Essential Oil Safety, and founder of usingeossafely.com, and I'm here with Daphne and Christy. I'm going to swap you over to them really quick so you can see them. Christy, there we go.
Hi, everybody. Hope you had a nice Easter.
And here's Daphne.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, unlike Blab, you're on, Daphne. Unlike Blab, we can't all show each other our faces to you guys at once, which is really frustrating sometimes.
Although the other thing is that when my kids are doing what they're doing right now, which is squealing, or when the dog escapes, or when my wheat thins don't taste good and I go, ah, you don't have to see that.
Right.
Only Leah and Christy are there going, what is going on?
I know. What's going on over there? So we have been presenting these classes for 10 weeks now, which is really awesome, and we're having lots of fun. These classes are for anybody interested in learning more about essential oils, no matter which brand you use. So this week we are discussing anti-stress essential oils. So I am not going to use my screenshot mode. I'm going to be using my ManyCam feature, which presents the images even larger than on screenshot mode, and I can do that this week because I don't have more than 12 images. So that's really cool. So I'm going to swap over to that right now. Okay, so you can see here, if you are interested in learning more about what we're talking about this evening, this is where you can find all of the information right here at this link that we're going to be talking about tonight. Now, first of all, we need to define anti-stress. I'm sure we can probably all figure this out, but I do this every week, so here you go. So these blends will help you to lessen the feeling of stress, anxiety, tension, and irritability, and can help promote happy emotions and encourage relaxation. Sounds pretty good to me. The great essential oils for anti-stress, there's really good options, and then there's some also other options that are effective as well, but maybe not quite as effective. So if you have a choice, please go ahead and choose these top ones. And this is bergamot, cedarwood atlas, coriander, frankincense, all species, lavender, particularly the Bulgarian and French, sweet orange, Australian sandalwood, tangerine, vanilla, and vetiver. And mandarin should have also been included in this list as well. Also effective, Roman chamomile, clove bud, copaiba, cypress, grapefruit, lemon, lime, peppermint, and spearmint. And as you can see, some of those are noted as having special dilutions or special safety concerns. And if you have any questions on what those might be, please feel free to give an ask at the end. Now, this is my first recipe. I had to give this a name. So this is called Duck's Back. Okay, so you're going to be so stress-free. Everything's just going to roll off you, right? Okay, so that's where that came from, because it's a little bit easier for me to discuss recipes when I give them a name rather than, oh, blend number 1 or blend number 2. So if you think that's really corny, that's okay. I'm sure you're not alone. So this recipe is the master blend recipe that you're going to be using to add in different applications, which we will get to. But this first recipe, you want to add these drops to a 5 ml bottle, and that's 35 drops of coriander, 25 drops of sweet orange, which, yes, you can replace with tangerine or mandarin, as well as 25 drops of cedarwood atlas, and 15 drops of vanilla. Always got to get that vanilla in there. It is so good for so many different things. So that is the first recipe. And just as a note, if you are using vanilla CO2 extract, you don't have to worry about it not blending well. If you are using the Absolute, it will float on the top of these essential oils, so you want to give it a nice shake before you add to your recipes that we'll be discussing in a moment. The second recipe I have, and again, both of these are family safe, is called Chillin'. And this one is really awesome too. Smells so delicious. And this is a blend of bergamot, lime, frankincense, and spearmint. So 35 drops bergamot, 25 drops lime, which you can replace with lemon to get a similar aroma, 25 drops of frankincense. Any species is fine. They're all going to be good for reducing the stress, and 15 drops of spearmint. Now here's the safety. When we're talking about both of these essential oil blends, they are both safe for use for during pregnancy, breastfeeding, they're safe to use around your children, and they're all safe to use with your dogs. As always, I do not recommend using essential oils with your cats, and if you're curious to know why, you can go to usingeossafely.com/savecats. And if you decide that you want to go ahead and use this with your cats, that's fine. I just want to present to you that there's a little bit of safety involved and a little bit of concerns that you might want to consider before using essential oils with your cats. Now, both of these blends are going to be most effective when inhaled or diffused. Essential oils go straight to the limbic center of the brain when you inhale them, and for emotional issues such as stress, this is the ideal way to use them. For the first blend, Duck's Back, I do not have a maximum dilution if used topically. None of those essential oils have a topical max according to essential oil safety, but of course we still always want to dilute them before using. The second blend, Chillin', because of bergamot and lime, they both have a very low dilution, very low topical max. So if you're using them topically, you can only use at a 1% dilution. Now, if you are using bergaptan-free bergamot, but you're still using the cold-pressed lime, then you can use up to a 3% dilution. If you happen to have steam-distilled lime, as well as bergaptan-free bergamot, then you're not going to have a topical max either. But again, both recipes are going to be most effective when inhaled. So here is the recipe, basically, or the application for using these blends in your personal inhaler. As always, we want to add 15 drops to personal inhalers. You can choose to add only 10 drops for children if you'd like to. You can use between 5 and 10 drops to your diffuser. It really depends on what diffuser that you have and what they're recommending. Also, the intensity of the aroma that you want. You know, where in the room is it? You know, can you go higher if it's in a larger spaced area? If it's in a smaller room or right next to you, maybe on your desk, you might want to go with a fewer drops. And as always, you can add a drop to your diffuser necklace. So if you have a pendant where you can apply essential oils like inside the locket, or if it's a clay pendant on your necklace, again, 1 drop because it is very close to your face, and that's usually enough. I've accidentally dripped, 2 or 3 if it's come out really fast, and it's pretty intense to the point where I pretty much have to take it off after just a few minutes. So for congestion issues, that might be something you want. So just play around with that, but realize you start at 1 drop and see how that works for you. Now, there's 3 other recipes I have for you that are okay. They're not unsafe to use. You can use anti-stress blends in a lotion. I am recommending that you stick to the Duck's Back blend, only because, as we already explained, it does not have a topical max unless you are using bergaptan-free bergamot and or steam distilled lime, where you're not worried about topical max. Otherwise, you definitely want to stick to Duck's Back. You can apply it to yourself in lotion form if you'd like to. It's not going to be as effective as inhaling, but here's a recipe if you'd like to use it. Here's a recipe for a perfume. If you're adding the blend to a hydrosol or water, I highly recommend, if you use this method, you do choose a hydrosol. You can, choose, there's lots of different ones that you can choose from, really. Sandalwood or lavender. Oh goodness, I mean, it's just pretty much what you have on hand you can use, but like things like lavender and sandalwood are going to help to calm you, and they're going to blend well and be more effective for you when you're using them with anti-stress essential oils. You want to shake it well before spritzing on pulse points. Preferably, if you're spritzing on the outside of your throat, that is going to stay, close to your nose where you can smell it, and that might be effective for you. And finally, we have a recipe for using these in your bath. And again, if you're using the Duck's Back blend, you can go ahead and use this recipe. I do not advise you use the second recipe unless you make those changes we discussed because of the topical maxes that they have. So if you are enjoying these free classes, I have a PayPal address if you'd like to send some PayPal love to me. I really, really appreciate that. It makes me really happy to see when I find that in my inbox. I appreciate that so much. So that is pretty much our class this evening. It's not very long. We do not have a lot of recipes because you know why. Inhalation is the most effective way. So if you guys have any questions, now would be a great time to ask those questions. And again, I apologize to you who wanted to view this on Facebook. It's not even giving me the option right now to use a Facebook Live feed, so I don't know what to say. I will have to look into that, but when I discovered this a few minutes before logging on, expecting it to work, it just didn't want to work, so that's really frustrating. So does anybody have any questions? If you do, you can type them right on the upper right corner. You should have a grid that you can click on, and then you can select Q&A and ask your questions there. If Christy or Daphne, if you have anything to contribute, let me know and I'll pop you up there. And I also wanted to mention, while everyone's thinking about what they want to ask this evening, I did want to announce the winner for the Copaiba Essential Oil. So I am going to be doing that for sure this evening. Now, Kelly has a question. Does it matter what kind of inhaler that you get? It does not matter what kind of inhaler that you use at all. There's those plastic ones that we all know about, and those are totally fine. I have lots of those. Then there's these beautiful ones that I personally prefer, which are aluminum and glass. But honestly, they all work the same. You add essential oils to both of them on the wick, and you breathe them in. So they pretty much both work the same. I love the way that these look, particularly. I think they look classier myself. But I do give my kids the plastic ones in case they're prone, to losing them or misplacing them or something. Then, plastic ones are fine. They're in a wider range of colors, although these come in green, blue, red, purple. So those are pretty cool. But no, it does not change the effectiveness if you're using one kind or the other. It doesn't matter. I will say, though, the plastic ones do actually fit inside your nose. These don't really fit inside your nose. So if you're congested, I know my son likes it inserted in his nose. This is way too wide for that. That's not going to work. Even an adult, that's not going to work. Sandy has a question. Does it matter how much you inhale? Yes and no. Basically, I recommend, 1 or 2 deep whiffs. But, if you're sitting there and you're doing, say, 10 deep inhalations, you're probably going to feel a little lightheaded. You may get a headache. So, yeah, just like with anything, there's a limit. But this is going to be a gentle method, yet very effective. It's very difficult to sort of overdose by inhalation. But if you do, then you will notice that you might be a little bit dizzy, you might get a headache. That can happen if you have applied it to your pendant, too many drops, and you just have it on for too long. That can cause those issues as well. But generally speaking, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
If
you get a headache anytime you're dealing with essential oils, that is your first signal to put the oils down and walk away. And sometimes it's out of our control. Sometimes we're in an environment like a trade show or something like that, a public office or whatever. But go ahead and speak up. Tell them this is making me not feel good. And they might argue with you, but you need to speak up. It's your best self. And a headache is just your body saying, okay, it's enough. And even if you just open the bottle, you smell it, and you start to get that tiny little buzz going, stop. Screw it back on. Walk away from it. And, you might need to get used to it. Maybe your body's just not used to it yet. Or your body's just saying, I don't need this. Do not force it on yourself because you're just going to get sicker. So I know that wasn't really the question, but I think a lot of people, they get confused or they don't associate the headache with the oils. And your body is powerful. It will tell you when it's enough. So my hair's getting crazy now. My hair's telling me something. And Sandy's saying she meant how many times a day. It's kind of, Leah can cover this further, but it's kind of as needed. If you've got your diffuser going, you're going to have it going for about half an hour, and then you'll, you may come back to it again. What are you doing with stress relief? I think a lot of us could be stressed throughout the day, so you might reach for it a few times during the day, and that's fine. So, but I'll let Leah delve further into that because I'm sure she has.
Yeah, technically it's as needed, and I know that can be really difficult to determine for yourself. And it would depend on the type of blend. Of course, we're talking about anti-stress blends right now, so maybe I can just answer it from that angle. If you know you are going to have, say, a stressful conversation, it might be wise to inhale first. If you are finding yourself in a conversation, say you're on the phone, you can whip out your inhaler and try it then. For other things such as congestion that you're dealing with for a length of time, I like to throw out a general standard of recommendation for, say, 3 or 4 hours, maybe every 2 hours. It's really going to depend on the intensity of what's going on. Sometimes a simple diffuser may be enough. Other times an inhaler is going to be more intense and give you a better result. So I'm generally probably not going to recommend anybody every hour. But again, it's as needed. So if you're feeling like you need it more often or less often, go with that.
Yeah,
Roxanne has
really
sure,
quick.
go ahead.
If you need it, and again in an hour, fine, but you may not need it on an hourly basis throughout the day. That's a little much.
Right, exactly.
But if you just want to take a deep cleansing breath, and then your kid comes home with an F, 30 minutes later, go ahead and pick up the inhaler again and use it. You're gonna need it. Right. So don't stress yourself out. Like, how long has it been? It's not like taking ibuprofen too close together. It's just you don't want to be doing it constantly. Right. And if you feel like you need it, either maybe you need a different oil, or you need a different route, or you need to look at lifestyle changes like we were talking about with sleep. Oils are sometimes a Band-Aid to a much bigger problem.
Oh, yeah, that was a conversation totally that I was going to go with for sure, because
yes,
that is, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if you find yourself needing them a lot, that hourly or, constantly, whatever that, you'll notice. Then, think about, is the oil working for me? Am I, do I need to pick a different oil? Or, maybe if you're congested, an inhaler may not be enough. You might need a steam to kind of really get up in there. So you might need a different method. Or you might need lifestyle changes. And stress is one of those things, like sleep. You kind of have to look at your overall lifestyle and not just what's going to fix this. A cup of chamomile tea isn't going to fix stress from debt. You might have to look at other solutions for those things. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, but for those moments, like your kid bringing home an F, it's not going to fix the F, but it might help you get through the moment, and that's more what we're talking about, just kind of bringing you back down to earth, and just like that cup of chamomile tea, just bringing you to the moment. What's the right answer for the next 15 minutes is a phrase I heard this last week, and I love that for anti-stress.
Yes. Absolutely. As a huge disclaimer, if you might have issues where essential oils, they're just not going to cut it. If somebody in your life is really super stressed, I know there was a woman in the group not too long ago speaking about this with her husband, and we basically said, look, you need help. Like, essential oils are not going to be enough for this. Counseling may need to be involved. Definitely lifestyle changes. You may need more sleep. You may need better quality sleep. You may need maybe your blood sugar's out of whack and you have diabetes and you don't even know it yet. Or maybe there's people in your life that you need to walk away from, or maybe there's situations in your life that you need to walk away from or resolve, or there's so many things. It's really it just depends what your stresses are. But yeah, something like an F, or something that we consider more like kind of everyday type of not real end of the world type scenario things, essential oils are very effective, and they can help calm us down enough to where we can think more clearly how to handle a situation. But if you are in a more chronic situation where like every single day you're stressed out, please get help, because essential oils are not going to be enough for you. Roxanne is asking, if you're frugal, can you put it on a cotton ball and put it in a container? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. Or what you can do is you can take one of these cute little jars from Flora Hanna from Tropical Traditions. They're essential oils, and I like to use the empty ones and fill them up with salt and add essential oils that way, and you could use that as an inhaler. And these come with a little hole on the top so that you can breathe in, or you can just take the lid off and smell it that way. Get creative. There are a lot of ways other than actually purchasing inhalers to inhale. And a good question that sometimes often asked about inhaling essential oils is, well, can I just inhale straight out of the bottle? I mean, you can inhale straight out of the bottle. If you're having an issue that you need to inhale right away, then yes, you can. But if you do it often, over time, you are going to cause your essential oils to oxidize. So every time you take the lid off your essential oil, you are allowing the opportunity for oxygen to get in your bottle. Also, the top notes in your blend of essential oils, well, whether it's a blend or whether it's a single essential oil, there are certain constituents in there that are referred to as top notes, and those are going to be the first ones to escape out of the bottle. So over time, or say you leave the lid off overnight, in the morning, the smell will not be the same, and that is because a lot of those constituents have left the bottle. Essential oils are volatile, that's what they do. They fill the air, and so they will have left, which means if you're going to inhale from that bottle, it's not going to give you the same benefit, especially when we're talking about stress. A lot of the anti-stress constituents happen to be top notes. Another thing is if you do use those topically, you could be more at risk for sensitization or skin irritation because, again, a lot of those top notes are the ones that are actually helping our skin not have that irritated feeling when you apply them topically.
Can I say
Sure,
something?
absolutely.
One thing about putting it on a cotton ball, it is a frugal way to do it in the moment, but I don't think the scent lasts as long on the cotton ball as it might in a personal inhaler, and the plastic ones are fairly inexpensive, and the scent will last on your inhaler for a couple of months or maybe more. So that's something to think about. If you really can't afford to buy it, then definitely a cotton ball is the cheapest way to go, but I just don't think that you'll find that it lasts as long as a personal inhaler. Yeah.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Say. Oh, and the top note, that was, I've also noticed when you make a personal inhaler, your top notes will also dissipate from your inhaler quicker. If you make one, it seems like in a week or so later that your inhaler will smell a little bit differently, and that might be because your top notes have already dissipated some. So if you notice that it smells differently, you could even add after a couple weeks a couple more drops of your top note, your citrus. Sorry about that. My phone just fell over. So if you notice that's different, just add a few more of your top notes drops back, and then you'll be okay.
That was so funny visually. I'm sorry.
I'm so glad you can't see my husband because he's making all kinds of things. Luckily, he's in front of me and not behind the camera. But now
it was just the visual. It looked like you went tumbling.
It was just my phone. I had my phone propped up and it just fell off the side.
That happens for sure.
Yes. Oh, man.
So Sandy's asking, what about using this blend for fear? That's a great question. I don't see why you couldn't. You know, these essential oils are calming essential oils, so absolutely I don't see why you couldn't use them for fear. It's a great question. Eva's asking, could one put a drop on the end of nose for diffusion? I don't recommend that, and the reason is because you would need to dilute it first, and, you know, as you notice, one of the blends has very low topical max. I'm just not seeing that it's going to be very effective. I mean, I suppose you could. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not a normal way to use essential oils as putting them on the tip of your nose. I think I would probably recommend that you maybe apply lotion maybe to your throat area. That might be something you want to do, or maybe apply lotion to your hands, and then, you know, smell your hands, something like that. But whenever you can just inhale the essential oils rather than use them topically, then you're not even putting yourself at any way, shape, or form of risk for any of the topical issues. You know, if you did use that Chillin' blend, the second blend, and it did have lime in it that wasn't steam distilled, you know, you could put yourself at risk for sunburn if you were using too much on your nose. So it's just things, and same with the bergamot, actually. So it's just things to consider. You know, if you can inhale, then it's probably better to.
Yeah, I'll add that, like, the tip of my nose is really sensitive, and this last week I even had a sore right here. I think it was just a zit that turned into a sore for some reason. And so, you know, I'm sure you're talking about more up here than right here, but still, on my nose, it's rather sensitive. And even diluted, I don't know if I'd want to put oils on there because if you do it once, you're probably going to repeat it. I mean, we're creatures of habit, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, yeah, I like Christy. Leah was saying if you can just inhale it. I think the other problem is even diluted, it's going to be right on your nose. You're definitely going to be smelling it versus a necklace that you can take off if you get overwhelmed. You know, we were talking about headaches earlier, and that's the first sign that your body's just had enough. If you get a headache, you're going to have to track some soap down and wash it off. And if you're in the office, they probably have some nasty smelling soap. You're going to be smelling that. Your headache's going to get worse. You know, maybe not. Maybe you make your own, but you might have essential oils in that. So it kind of just spirals down, if you get what I'm saying. So it's not a horrible idea. It makes sense. I just think thinking it through, it's just not maybe the best practice for your nose, quite literally. It just, there are safer and easier ways to put you at less risk.
Yeah, I agree, and you can't get away from it either. So if you're finding that it's too intense for you, you know, you're pretty much stuck with it, like Daphne was saying, and you know, it can be a pain in the butt to try to get off. Claudia has a question. She says she's new to essential oils, and it might be a strange question, but I seem to be having an issue getting only one drop at a time out of the bottle. Is there a way to better control this, or is 1 or 2 extra drops okay? That really depends on, you know, what you're talking about. If you are adding to an inhaler and, you know, you end up with 18 drops instead of 15, you're probably going to be okay. You know, the thing, too, and not to complicate things, but, you know, drops are not equal. So when we're saying 1 drop, you know, different reducer caps, I mean, these have different sizes, you know, depending on the brands. So you might be getting, oh boy, that smells good. Anti-stress. Smells so good. You might be getting, say, 1 drop versus 1.5 drops, or maybe it's 2 drops, or, you know, it's really hard to tell. So you don't really have to worry too much if you get a couple of extra drops. Except for in the necklace, you might find it's too intense. The remedy for that is you can maybe try to wipe some off, you can air dry it, you can take it off after a length of time. You know, there are ways around that. But if you're making a product, of course you want to try to stick to as close to the ratio as we can, obviously. If the recipe calls for 12 drops and we're doing 30, then, you know, we might have a little bit of an issue. But if you're talking 1 versus 2 or 3, you know, it's probably not horrible. I think a lot of people, again, don't realize that about reducer sizes anyways, so yeah, don't worry about that. If you want a better control, you can, you know, slowly tip and just see if you can get that drop like coming out and just, you know, but again, some of the lighter essential oils, the thinner ones, they do come out fast, and that's just the way it is. Another thing, go ahead, Daphne.
Oh, I'll let you finish before I do.
No, you go ahead, because I actually want to get something. Go ahead.
Okay. I learned the hard way when I was doing a video for Leah. I can't remember if it's one of the ones that's up or if I cut it and redid it. I was making the cuticle oil, so it's one of the roller bottle ones if you go look it up on the YouTube channel. But anyway, I learned the hard way that if you get too many drops, what you can do is measure. Like lavender was the one I had trouble with, and lavender is a very common one that comes out very fast, as well as lemon, sometimes tea tree or rosemary, those really thin ones. And so what I did was I measured out the lavender first. So then if I got, you know, 6 drops instead of 4 drops or whatever, I just poured it back out and then remeasured it. And now with lavender, it's not really as big of a deal. But I was also making a video for Leah's channel, and I was breaking this down to 101. I did not want to explain, oh, well, that's fine. You know, I'm just going to roll with it because I feel like I'm yelling. I'm sorry if I'm yelling at you guys. I live with boys. I'm sorry. I didn't want to just say that's fine and roll with it and not explain what I was doing, but I didn't want to sidetrack from the video. So if you have a bottle that you're really worried about overdoing it, then just pre-measure your drops. There's some really cool measurements that you can get, measuring cups and stuff that you can get on Amazon, or you can use a scale, or just, you know, just put it in, you know, mix them in another glass instrument before you put it into your bottle. Like Leah said, if you're using an inhaler, it's not a big deal at all. But if you're talking about something like clove, we've talked about that before, or lime, or something that has a very low dilution rate, and you do want to be careful to not go over that 1 drop, just pre-measure it and make sure you get that 1 drop first, and then add it to your blend or, you know, whatever you're making up, instead of going, ah, crap, you know, I've got this 10 milliliter bottle and I can't add more carrier to it. So just be inventive. Don't flip out. You know, if it's an extra drop or 2 of lavender, okay. If it's an extra drop or 2 of clove, you might have to rethink things. But if you get stuck, ask us, because we have all been there. It's believe us, we've been there more times than we can count. So it's a very common problem, and it's not a strange question at all. So definitely, it happens on live TV.
Yeah. I was just finding my pipette. So you can purchase pipettes if you want a more controlled application. You can put these. Some of them don't have the real thin part on the bottom, but you can insert these right into your bottle, and you can extract essential oils that way. See, I just got a little, I don't know if you can see, I just got a little bit right here. So you can, and then you can squeeze it out. So you can use a pipette if you wanted to, and the other thing that you could do is you can use a dropper bottle, and you can use them like this, and then you can just drop, doop, 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 like that. So that is more controlled that way too. Yes, that is definitely a common question. Roxanne has a question. If the top notes are gone, then is the mix no good? Like you said, leaving the bottle open all night, so trash it now. I wouldn't say it's no good, no good, no good. If you are leaving, if the cover's left off overnight, it's probably not going to be as therapeutic. It's probably going to be oxidized, and it's probably not something you're going to want to use on your skin. You can probably get away with using it in your diffuser or inhaling it. Again, it's not going to be as effective. If you're worried about it or concerned, I mean, you could try it. Say you left your anti-stress blend out with the cap open overnight. If you're smelling it and it's not helping you with your stress, then obviously it's not going to be any good. Then you can use it in your laundry or in cleaning or something where it's going to be antimicrobial still, but it just might not give you the benefit that you want. So obviously we want our bottles to be stored in a cool, dark area if possible to lengthen the shelf life, and always tightly closed if possible so that they will not get oxidized so quickly. So that's a great question. Any more questions? Those are really awesome. Or Christy or Daphne, if you have anything you want to share.
Okay, so I talked to Christy if it got so while we're waiting for questions. We were talking about inhalation earlier. And okay, he had this sermon illustration today. I wasn't in there. I don't know what he was talking about. But he's talking about well, who knows. But he found somewhere this crack pipe, and he was going to use it for a sermon illustration. Well, between finding it and getting it to church today, he lost it, and it got busted, and somebody threw it away. So he's telling this guy at church about it, and the guy goes, "That's not a crack pipe. That's a meth pipe." And the guy is saved. He's not doing meth or anything, but my dad lost it. He told the entire church, and he told them who said it. It's just like, so I can't even remember what you said earlier that triggered it, but when you were talking about inhaling oil, I was over here rolling. So anyway, that's my story that wasn't nearly as funny right now and not in the moment as it was a few minutes ago when I was over here dying of laughter earlier, and I messaged Christy. But now the questions are coming back in, so we can save me from the awkwardness.
Okay.
I know.
So Roxanne just had a quick comment. So it has more uses than inhaling. Yes, essential oils do have more uses than inhaling. For a lot of issues, inhaling is going to be the best way to use them. But again, once they go bad, once they've oxidized, there are other ways that you can use them without simply throwing them away. And I actually go into some of that in my post about shelf life, which you can find at using eossafely.com/shelflife. You can find more ways over there. And Janice has a question. What would be a good substitute for coriander? That's great.
Oh no, we lost her.
Maybe she's back.
Okay, that was weird. Am I back?
There you
You're
are.
back.
Yes, you're back.
No.
Uh-oh, frozen again.
Uh-oh.
It's been frozen for a while.
Okay.
Okay, there you are. Maybe.
Are you back?
Voice?
Nope. It's like bouncing back and forth.
Again?
Maybe.
Are we back again? Are we bouncing?
Yes, it's bouncing between screens.
Okay, let me.
Oh, it's because Leah isn't controlling who's speaking to show up. There we go. Okay, you're back, Leah, I think.
Okay. Whew. Okay.
It went away from me right when you started to talk about the sub for coriander, so I don't know if anybody heard that, but I didn't hear any of it.
Oh golly, okay.
Yeah, I heard you ask a question, and you said that's a good question, and then it just went away.
Oh.
Yeah. Same.
Okay. Well, I was transitioning back to my slides. Maybe I won't do that. I don't know if that was it, but maybe I will skip doing that. I was just pulling the duck's back recipe back up because coriander is the one that's top on that list for 35 drops. I was saying marjoram could be a good swap for that as far as aroma goes. It also could be good for stress as well. But I'm finding I don't have that on my list of recommended options. But it could be good. Probably should be on that list. So it's just one, I guess, that I didn't put on that list. If you have cedarwood or sandalwood or even lavender, probably lavender would probably be, especially for aroma, as well as being anti-stress, would probably be the best swap out for coriander in that blend. But refer to that list. I have the link down here, so you can refer to that list and see what ones you have and just swap from there. Okay. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I won't transition over there again. I don't know if that was it or if it was just Google or what. So Claudia's asking, is this okay to do? Bathe with lavender blended in Epsom salt and then use the cellulite synergy blended in coconut oil afterwards, concerning about using different oils back to back. That's okay. As long as you're using safe and low enough dilutions, you can use essential oils for more than one thing throughout your day. That is totally fine, especially for those two things. You know, if there's 10 different situations in your day that you're applying essential oils, particularly you're not applying them with appropriate dilution, then you could risk, sensitization or irritation or any of that. But by what you said, I'm assuming that you're adding no more than 5 drops of lavender, and you're adding it to a tablespoon of a carrier oil, and then to a minimum of, say, a quarter cup up to a cup of Epsom salt, something like that. That would be a safe recipe for a bath. And then again, assuming your cellulite synergy, I don't know what's in that. I can't tell you what's in that. So assuming that the essential oils in it are safe and that you have it diluted to an appropriate dilution, then I don't see a problem with using one and then the other. That's just me. Okay, Janice says she has all the essential oils listed. Excellent. Yes, and then there's a couple of comments about they lost it too. Sorry, guys. I'm glad we bounced back. That was nice. Unlike Blab, when they just cut you off and you're done.
I know. I was really worried about that.
Yeah. So great questions. I know this is a blend that's pretty straightforward. There have been, other blends where there's so many different uses, but that's the thing that I like about doing blends on Blend Week. It's a little bit less intense for me creating all of these recipes, because there's already pretty much a built-in way to use essential oil, whereas with single essential oils, there's so many different ways to use them. So yeah, it's really a lot of fun. So unless there's any questions, I can go ahead and let you guys know who the Copaiba winner is.
Right.
I went over to Rafflecopter earlier, and this is what they gave me. So Shannon Galantine, if you are on this evening, you have won the Copaiba Essential Oil, and if you are not on this evening, I will be sending you an email to get your information. So congratulations. Okay, Kim, yes. The substitute for coriander, I was thinking marjoram, like kind of right off, but I think I'm going to swap that to lavender. I think lavender is probably going to be the best substitute for coriander. But if you look at this link right here, I do have that whole list of substitutes that you can use. Some of which are, things like cedarwood or sandalwood, which are going to give you a different aroma in the blend, but that's okay. It's still going to be effective because they're all going to be anti-stress essential oils. You're welcome, Claudia. She says, thanks for all the great information. Welcome. So I really expect you guys to have a really chillin' week here. You have no excuse whatsoever not to be calm, cool, and collected, because I've given you 2 really great rests, and they smell so good.
They do. They do. Okay, well, I only have the one. I guess it's the first one.
Yep.
The one with the lime.
Yep.
Whichever one that is.
No, you have the first one. I revised it.
But yeah, I have the one with the lime, and it really does. It's my... Oh, gosh. Of Leah's recipes, I want to say this one might be my favorite. Seriously. That's my go-to for the bath. I've been taking more baths recently. I finally got my bathroom back with my clawfoot tub.
Nice.
So, for that, or just stressful days. Actually, the sleep blends weren't working for me, and I don't think it was the sleep blends itself. I just kind of, I think sandalwood for me doesn't work very well. I tend to seem to concentrate better. I don't know, my dreams just seem more on edge with sandalwood, so I think it's personal for me, not the recipes. But so I did the anti-stress one night, and I knocked out for the first time in weeks. So clearly I've been stressed and sleep deprived. But yeah, it's my go-to blend, seriously, for stress. So while the lime one isn't great for topical use, anti-stress is like everything smells so good.
Our sound is going away again.
Roxanne has a question about next week. No, I need to skip a week on the classes because it does take up a lot of my week to do, and I really want to focus on these labels. So I'm going to skip next week. That being said, I will probably I'm thinking of still being on so that we can actually talk about the labels at the end of the week. Hopefully they will be completely finished if all goes according to plan, and I can sort of show them to you a little bit. So just check the group and check the Facebook page. Hopefully you're subscribed to my newsletter, wherever you are connected with me. I should be able to let you guys know about that. So here's sort of a preview of these are just the crude ones. So this is basically... It was that sheet of 40 that I told you about. However, if you've been keeping tabs on the group, which Roxanne, I know you're in there, I was unable to find the exact Avery size that those are supposed to fit on as far as the labels. So I'm really glad I actually, went on Amazon and the rest of the web and tried to figure out, okay, do these labels still exist anymore? Because they didn't. So I had to get different size labels, and only 30 now fit on the page. But that's okay. So we're going to have 3 different sets instead of 2 different sets. No big deal. They are going to be much more beautiful than what is here, but this is pretty much what you're going to get. You're going to get the name of the essential oil, any topical maxes, whether they're safe to inhale or use topically for breastfeeding, children, you know, what age, all of that stuff. And I'm going to have enough room, because they're going to be a little bit wider, I'm going to have enough room to give you sort of a rundown on, say, if they're going to cause irritation, if they're phototoxic. You know, I can't elaborate too much because these labels are not book-sized, but I will be able to give you a little bit of reference notes for you so that you know if you do go over the topical max, this is what you have risk of. So I'm really excited about that, and I really needed, see, I'm trying to practice what I preach here, and that was one way that I could eliminate stress, was not having 2 major projects going on in the same week. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing an EO class this week. I'm going to do the labels. So hopefully you guys are not too disappointed. I know the labels are super exciting. So, yes. So Nikki has a question. Yes. So Nikki, you can find a list of upcoming classes that we will be having. You can go to freeeoclass.com, and that's basically going to redirect you to the page that we have on using EOS safely of our class, and that gives you a list of all the classes we have done, and then near the bottom it lists about 10 or so classes that we will be doing in the future. And for my personal notes, I have a list a lot longer than that, but just to give you sort of a heads up so that you know the singles we will be talking about if you want to order those ahead. And I've been trying to remember, and I'm sorry I neglected to this week, but to kind of let you guys know maybe some of the essential oils that will be in the blend so that you can kind of have those ready and on hand. But now that you know what the recipes are, you can go ahead, and if you don't have them all, you can place your orders and, you know, try to get those blends going. At least try one of them. But they're both really, really good. And I know we talk a lot in the group about not using one, either essential oil or blend, for a very long time. Now, with this blend where it's an anti-stress, you know, it might be one of those things where you might use maybe a few times a day, and then there might be days or weeks that you don't use it at all. So you don't need to feel pressured that you need to absolutely change your blends up frequently. But if there is a blend that you're finding that you're using daily, then you want to try to not use it more than 3 or 4 weeks and try to use something else. That's generally if you're using it topically, though. Not so much if you're inhaling. So, you know, just keep in tune to your body and see what's working for you. And if you find that either you're not liking the smell anymore, maybe you have kind of grown tired of smelling that a lot, which is probably not that common, just because our brain connects aromas with feelings. And if we know, oh, this is my anti-stress blend and it smells so good, you know, just our brain smelling that will remind it, this makes me calm. So that can be really effective for that. Did one of you want to say something, or was it just my sound going up on your end a little bit?
Tara had a question.
You want to answer that one?
Sure. I'll try. There you are. Look, see? You can see everybody now. Say hi. I wish you guys could have seen it. As soon as I picked him up, he put up his hand and went, hi, for the first time. Spontaneously, he waved to people, and you guys all missed it.
I saw it.
Yeah, Christy got to see it. For diffusing, it's best to diffuse for only 30 to 60 minutes at a time, because everything that you need is going to get into the air in that little window right there. And then it'll hang in the air. It's okay, but you're just pushing the mouse, and they're all going to go away if you do that. It'll hang in the air for an hour. So we say, you know, diffuse for 30 to 60 minutes and then leave it off for an hour. And I have a diffuser a lot like yours. It has, I think, oh my goodness.
I was trying to help me.
It was 1, 2, 3, and continuous, which is like 8 to 12 hours. And so what I do is I turn it on for 1 hour, and if you're diffusing for bedtime, start it for 30 minutes before bedtime, and then just let the 1 hour run out. If you need something overnight, the closest thing I've found is the Jasmine by Statler Form, and it runs for 10 minutes and then shuts off for 20. The other option is to get a really cheap diffuser that doesn't have any buttons on it. It just runs when you plug it in, and then hook that up to a digital timer that you can set. I know that's it sounds labor intensive, but once you get it down, it kind of becomes second nature. You just have to kind of think about it on the offset, how I'm going to make this diffuser work for me. So bedtime, you may not need it all night. You might find that you do. Another option is to use hydrosol linen spray on your pillow. So then that helps not diffuse all night. Diffuse for the 30 minutes, spray your pillow down with the hydrosol, and you'll probably conk out. You probably won't need to diffuse more than 30, 60 minutes at all. Because who wants to, you can't get up in the middle of the night and turn it back on. You're definitely not going to be getting any sleep. But during the day, it's easier. So,
right.
If you have more questions about it, ask in the group, though, because if I'm not explaining over the baby very well, we're very happy to walk you through this stuff. I mean, we definitely want to be clear on this. But if you're panicking that you have done it all night, don't. It's just, you don't need to. But obviously, you're fine. When you know better, you do better. We're not here to beat you up and say, I can't believe you've been doing on your life. It's fine. I did it for a while too. you learn as you go. So it's a fantastic question, and I'm really glad that you asked because I wasn't clear about that earlier. I think I'm the one who probably tipped you off to that 3 to 4 hours because I said something. So thanks for asking.
I don't think so because I mentioned about inhaling maybe every 3 or 4 hours. That's more if you're using the personal inhaler and you can pull it out and give a couple good whiffs every, say, 3 or 4 hours, and that's just a general guideline. Like Daphne said, we generally recommend that you diffuse for 30 to 60 minutes at a time, and that's simply because, 15 to 30 minutes is going to be good enough for our bodies to get the message and to have that affect us. I know a lot of diffusers do run for 8 hours, and that's unfortunate. Daphne did mention one. There's a Jasmine one that does have a better timer than a lot of them, and another way to get around that too is you can put a lot less water in. You do not have to fill it up the whole way. The diffusers will shut off automatically when they're empty, so maybe if you just want to put maybe a quarter of the amount or less than you normally would, then it will automatically shut off when you need it. And Kim is commenting that her diffuser will turn off when it empties. Okay, right, just like what I said, absolutely. So she only fills it up halfway at night. Yes. Now, Christy, how did you get that comment up there?
Because I just added a new question.
Did you use it from a different device? Is that why? Or
on my laptop.
Yeah.
Okay, no wonder. I'm like, because I can't type anything.
I know. I almost messaged her. I was like, what did you do? And then I was like, oh, wait, she's got two
devices going. A question.
I know. That's why, like, when Daphne was talking, I was going, like, how did you do that? I was like, my face is all weird. Like,
but
Christy,
it's not clickable.
I know. Christy's got
so they could click through it, but I guess
right.
they could probably copy and paste it, but it's not
right.
clickable.
Well, I purchased the free eoclass.com domain. Go me, so that will get you right over to where you need to. Previously, I've been saying using eossafely.com/eoclasses or eoclass, and that will get you there as well. So it's all the same. I don't have the website actually doing anything right now, but it will redirect right over there. Now, Nikki has a comment. Oh, yeah, I did actually already answer that one about the topics for classes, right? So that would be freeeoclass.com. You can find all the classes we have done and the classes we plan to do in the future. And Roxanne saying, thank you for all you do for us. Thanks, Roxanne. I appreciate that. So I guess that's all the questions we have this evening. So that's really cool. I think that's all I wanted to share. I did tell you guys who the winner was of Copape Essential Oil. Did you want to say something?
I'm going to jump off, tell everybody good night, but I'll watch, but clearly somebody's grumpy and needs to go to bed. So we're gonna say
Okay.
goodbye, but Stacy has a question after I leave. So
Okay. All right.
that might turn into a soapbox. I might have to jump back on and save you.
Oh no!
I'm reading it, going, oh no,
I can't
they're gonna
look.
be on here for another 30 minutes. So
I can't look. Oh dear. Okay.
anyway, all right, here, Marshall. All right, Marshall's gonna say bye. Say bye, everybody.
Night, Marshall.
Night, night.
Night,
See,
night.
they can see you now. Say night, night. Okay, we're good. Thanks, everybody. We'll see
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Night, Daphne.
Bye.
All right. Oh my goodness, the question. I don't want to look. Stacy's asking. Her blend says to apply topically. Is it a stress blend? Is that what the blend is about? She's been using it diluted sleep blend on her 2-year-old every night. Should I be having him inhale instead? I would make a linen spray. 2 years old is kind of, maybe a little bit too young to be. I mean, you can walk. This is what I suggest for kids that are under 5 and can't really blow or sniff or whatever. Is just kind of wave this right under their nose, and you can smell it. I mean, when I take the cap off, I can smell it. A linen spray is super, super, super effective for sleep. And if the blend is not working, then, if it's working with what you're doing, then what you're doing is fine. I do have a little bit of a pet peeve when it's being recommended to apply something topically when it's really best to be inhaled, because you are not going to have that work for you as effectively. So if you're able to let me know if that's effective for you, just for my own curiosity, I'd like to know, because I pretty much tell people, if you're going to apply it topically, it's not going to be as effective. I mean, it can help somewhat, but if you want something to work, please use it in the most effective way. And for sleep, I find a linen spray, spritz it right all over the pillow or the bedding, very, very, very effective. And I do have a recipe for that, by the way, if this blend happens to not work for you. If it is, please use it. We did do a class on sedative essential oils. It was actually our last blend. So you can either go to freeeoclass.com or you can go to usingeossafely.com/sedativeeos, and I have 2 recipes that are family safe over there. That would be an option for you.
And
I
don't
did.
apply topically to your feet.
Yes, please. I didn't want to say that because I think I said it 999 times. But yes. Okay, so Christy, do you have any closing remarks? I'm gonna throw you up there real quick.
No, I don't really have anything additional to add. I just hope that you all enjoy that blend and find that it works really well for you. And I know when Daphne mentioned that this has been her favorite blend, I haven't tried it yet, but I do really love the Sandman blend that Leah just mentioned.
Yeah.
The sleep blend. I haven't tried the second one that she suggested, but the Sandman blend is very nice.
I
I've been
love
using
that.
it as a linen spray and as a personal inhaler, and I like both of them really well. So.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. It's funny, actually, last night my Sandman ran out, my linen spray.
My spray's almost
last pumps. So, okay, now I'm going to fill it up with my second blend and see how well this does, which I love the smell of. It smells like creamsicle, and I know, theoretically and, therapeutic properties, it's going to work. It's just going to be a little bit different. So I'm excited to use that for the next few weeks until that runs out and try something else. Okay, so Stacy's has a comment. He's just used to it being a part of his bedtime routine, but I'm not sure if it works exactly. Okay. It's not unsafe. It's just, again, it's not going to be as effective. If you bump or scrape your knee, applying essential oils to your feet is not going to give you the same result as applying to the scrape or the bump on your knee. it just makes sense. So, again, it's not harmful. It's just not going to be as effective. But if you're finding that his sleep routine is fine as is, then, you don't have to change anything. That's fine. Okay, so, again, we are not having a class next week. I will be focusing on those awesome labels. I may be on this time next week just to kind of show them to you guys and kind of share with you. Hopefully my week will go as planned, and that will be really exciting, and I'll have those available. I have to finish creating them. I have to make sure that it converts to PDF well. I have to get my stickers that are coming Tuesday and print them and make sure, everything's cool for you guys so that you guys don't get them on the other end and have it not work for you. So I'm just going to try to work all those kinks out, try to get it up on my website where you guys can purchase it without any trouble. I'm trying to get this automated, unlike my book, which you can email me about and I can attach it and send it that way, but some of you have to wait overnight because I don't answer emails in my sleep. So hopefully if I can get these labels automated, I think that would be happy for everybody because you guys would be able to get them immediately that way, so that'd be awesome. So I'm really excited about that. And I can't even tell you the week after that what the single essential oil is going to be. I don't even know. I have no idea. So I'll have to reference my own list and see what I have planned for the week after. So that will be fun. But thank you guys so much for being here. Again, I will be on Periscope tomorrow at noon to do this class over there. And I will investigate why Facebook Live is now not working for me, because that was really sad to not have that aspect as well this time. So that was frustrating. But thank you guys so much for watching and participating in our class. We appreciate that a lot. So have a good night.
Night.